Well, he'll certainly be remembered as the man who stood up to a Russian invasion. I mean, people often say to me, the most important thing that was said in the first year of the war, and it was 40 seconds on, I think it was the second night of the war, when the Russians had invaded. We all expected Zelensky to be dead by the end of the week, along with his family. And he came out onto the streets of Kiev, which is a very dangerous thing to do at that moment, because there were still sabotage squads roaming the streets looking for him, trying to get into the palace to shoot him. And he said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. The Minister of Defence is here. The government is here. The Foreign Affairs Minister is here. We're here, and we're going to fight. And that was one of the most fundamental speeches of our era, actually. And he'll always be remembered for that. And although, his popularity has waxed and waned a bit, he's been in power now since 2019. His legitimacy is martial law. His democratic mandate ran out last May. And so he's now a sort of martial law leader, which means he's got the legitimacy of a Premiership football manager, which is to say you've got to be successful.
Yeah.
And, his star may wane. And internally there are issues, but he will always be remembered as the man who stood up to the Russians and didn't run into exile, didn't let the Russians walk straight into Kiev. And I think that's imperishable. It makes him the as it were, the first big figure, really big figure of the 21st century, in my view.
That story, he needs ammunition, not a ride, I guess.
That was what he said, yeah. The Americans said, we'll look after you if you need to hop it with your family. He said, no, I don't need a ride, I need ammunition.
Just on his current popularity, it has dipped. It's not quite to the, what did Trump say, 4% levels that it is, but it has waned. And as you say, he is ruling via martial law. He said that if it was down to him, if him leaving would mean there would be peace and Ukraine could join NATO, he'd go.
He would. And I don't think he wants to stay that much longer in any case. I mean, he's done this job for a long time. Being a war leader for 3 years is no joke. You can see him, and he's had the 1,000-yard stare in his face after the first 8 or 9 months. And the strain is obvious, not just on him, but on his family. I mean, you think of, his poor family. I mean, because they're under threat now for the rest of their lives. Putin is a vengeful leader, and he behaves like a mafia boss. He is, in effect, a mafia boss, and they're coming for them for the rest of their lives. They'll try and assassinate them wherever they end up. And I think it wouldn't be unreasonable for him to say, look, if I can leave Ukraine in some sort of stable environment, I will gladly step down, and I'll try and turn up somewhere else in the world and live, more quietly, or just comment on Ukrainian issues. I mean, he does not have, although he's an autocratic figure himself, he's very pugnacious. He tends towards autocracy. He was when he was a film executive and a TV executive. He's a very self-centered autocratic man, but he is not a natural dictator. He's not a natural autocrat. He is a democrat par excellence, and I think he'd be looking for a way out if he could leave